The great hall of the Zooraan Empire gleamed with polished metal and pulsing blue lights. High Admiral Stone stood tall, his gray-scaled skin reflecting the glow of floating holograms that filled the chamber. Around him, 12 members of the Zooraan High Council perched on their elevated seats, their long necks curved forward in attention. They weren't alone today. Standing in the center of the hall was something Stone had never seen before: a messenger. The being had no fixed shape, shifting between forms like smoke in the wind. Sometimes it looked almost solid, then it would ripple and change again. The messenger was old, far older than the Zooraan Empire itself. "You must listen." The messenger spoke, its voice echoing without seeming to come from anywhere specific. "In all our years watching the galaxy's species grow and fall, we have never seen anything quite like the humans." High Council leader Thunderwing let out a low hiss. "These humans you speak of, they haven't even left their own star system. Our empire spans 47 systems. Why should we fear them?" The messenger's form rippled with what might have been frustration. "It is not about their current technology level. It is about what they can become. What they will become if you provoke them." Stone watched as images appeared in the air. A small blue planet, crowded cities, primitive spacecraft. He felt his neck scales flatten in disappointment. These were the creatures they were supposed to fear. "In the last 100 years," the messenger continued, "they went from ground-bound creatures to reaching their own moon. In the span of a single generation, they created worldwide information networks. They adapt faster than any species we have encountered in 50,000 years of observation. Adaptation without discipline is meaningless," Thunderwing said. "Our warriors trained for centuries. Our technology is perfected over millennia. We do not rush forward like primitives." The messenger's form darkened. "That is exactly why they are dangerous to you. You perfect. They innovate. You refine. They reimagine. You follow patterns that have worked for thousands of years. They break patterns and create new ones within days." Stone stepped forward. "Surely you exaggerate. No species can advance that quickly." "We have watched countless civilizations rise and fall," the messenger said. "The humans are different. They dream bigger than their capabilities. They push harder than their resources should allow. They unite in the face of threats in ways we have never seen. And most importantly, they never, ever forget those who wronged them." The council chamber filled with dismissive murmurs. Stone understood their reaction. The Zooraan had conquered every civilization they had encountered. Their energy shields could stop any weapon. Their ships could outrun any foe. Their warriors could outfight any enemy. "If you attack them," the messenger said, "they will not behave like other species. They will not surrender when you destroy their largest cities. They will not give up when you demonstrate superior technology. Instead, they will study you, learn from you, take your own weapons, and turn them against you in ways you never imagined." Thunderwing rose from his seat. "We have heard enough of these fairy tales. The Zooraan Empire does not change its plans based on wild stories about primitives." The messenger's form began to fade. "Then you have made your choice. We cannot force you to listen. We can only warn you, as we have warned others before. But know this: if you strike at Earth, you will not be fighting a primitive species. You will be creating something new, something that will reshape this galaxy. And the Zooraan Empire as you know it will not survive the change." As the messenger vanished, Stone felt a strange chill run down his spine, but he quickly dismissed it. After all, how dangerous could one small planet be? Thunderwing's voice filled the chamber. "Begin the preparations. We will add Earth to our empire, just like all the others." In the empty space where the messenger had stood, a final whisper echoed. "We tried to warn them. Now we must leave, for what comes next is not for us to witness." 3 months after the messenger's warning, Commander Red stood at the viewing window of his scout ship, watching Earth's blue sphere spin slowly against the black of space. His ship stayed hidden behind the planet's moon, its cloaking systems active. "Show me the data again," Red ordered, and his crew quickly brought up the holographic displays. Earth's radio and television signals filled the air around him. Thousands of broadcasts, all showing different aspects of human life. Red watched with growing confidence. These humans fought among themselves over tiny pieces of land. Their vehicles still ran on primitive fuel. Their weapons were simple projectiles and chemical explosives. "They're even more backward than we thought," said Blue, his second in command. "Look at these military vehicles. They still roll on the ground. And their aircraft use basic propulsion systems." Red nodded, but something bothered him. The humans' technology was advancing even as they watched. Every new scan showed small improvements, new innovations. It was like watching a species evolve in fast motion. "Send the report to High Command," Red ordered. "Tell them Earth is ready for conquest. Their defenses are nothing compared to our fleet." The response came quickly. The High Council had already assembled a battle fleet, 500 warships, each carrying enough firepower to level a city. They would arrive within 2 weeks. As Red prepared to return to the fleet's gathering point, his sensors picked up something interesting. The humans had spotted an asteroid heading toward their planet. Instead of panicking, they were already working on ways to destroy or deflect it. "Should we warn High Command about their problem-solving abilities?" Blue asked. Red laughed. "Why? By the time they figure out a solution, we'll already own their world." He turned away from the viewing window. "Though I admit they are entertaining to watch." The next 2 weeks passed quickly. Red joined the main fleet, which had gathered at the edge of Earth's solar system. From the bridge of his new command ship, he could see hundreds of Zooraan vessels stretching out into space, their purple energy shields glowing softly. Fleet Admiral Storm called all commanders to a final meeting. As Red entered the command center, he felt pride swell in his chest. The room was filled with the Empire's finest warriors, each one trained for centuries in the art of war. "The conquest of Earth will be simple," Storm announced, showing a hologram of the planned attack. "We will target their 20 largest cities simultaneously. Once they see our power, they will surrender, like all the others before them." The commanders nodded in agreement. It was the same strategy they had used successfully 47 times before. Why change what worked? "My scouts have observed them for weeks," Red added. "They have no defense against our technology. Their most powerful weapons would barely scratch our shields." As the meeting ended, an older commander named Gray pulled Red aside. "Did you notice something odd about the humans' communications?" he asked quietly. "What do you mean?" "They tell stories," Gray said. "Many, many stories about fighting alien invaders. And in these stories, they always win, no matter how powerful the aliens are." Red dismissed the concern with a wave. "Stories are just stories. Reality will be very different." The attack fleet moved into position. On Earth, humans were going about their daily lives, unaware that conquest was just hours away. Their primitive satellites never detected the Zooraan ships slipping into high orbit. "All ships report ready," Blue announced. Red looked at the beautiful blue planet below. Soon, it would be just another part of the Empire's collection. Another easy victory. "Begin the attack," he ordered. As the first Zooraan ships descended toward Earth's atmosphere, Red remembered the messenger's warning. He smiled, thinking how wrong those ancient beings had been. But in the next few hours, he would learn exactly why the messenger had tried to stop them. And by then, it would be far too late. The first wave of Zooraan ships broke through Earth's atmosphere, their purple shields glowing against the dawn sky. Commander Red watched from his command ship as 20 attack vessels moved into position above Earth's major cities. "Begin the standard conquest protocol," Red ordered. "Show them our power." The lead ship fired a blast of energy at a tall building in one of Earth's largest cities. But something unexpected happened. The humans didn't panic. Instead, their military responded in less than 3 minutes. "Sir," Blue shouted from his station, They're launching primitive missiles at us. Red almost laughed. Let them waste their weapons. Our shields will. He never finished that sentence. The first missile hit one of their ships, and instead of bouncing off the energy shield, it went straight through. The Zooraan vessel exploded in a ball of fire. Impossible. Red slammed his fist on the control panel. How did they pierce our shields? The answer came quickly and terrifyingly. The humans weren't using energy weapons that the shields were designed to stop. They were using simple metal projectiles, moving so fast that they tore through the Zooraan ships like paper. All ships, pull back. Red ordered, but more explosions lit up the sky. The humans had been preparing for this. They had weapons hidden everywhere, on land, on ships, even underwater. Blue's voice shook as he reported, "We've lost 15 ships already. The humans, they're not running. They're attacking." Red watched in horror as Earth's armies moved with unexpected unity. Countries that had been enemies days ago now fought together against the Zooraan fleet. Their primitive radio channels filled with messages of cooperation and resistance. "Sir, you need to see this," one of his crew members called out. The screen showed human scientists already studying a crashed Zooraan ship. They were taking it apart, learning its secrets. They worked with incredible speed, their minds grasping alien technology far faster than any species the Zooraan had encountered before. Fleet Admiral Storm's voice boomed over the command channel. "This is just a minor setback. Launch the ground troops." Red knew this was a mistake, but orders were orders. The Zooraan landing ships descended, carrying thousands of warriors in advanced battle armor. Surely their ground forces would crush these primitives. But the humans had another surprise waiting. Their soldiers fought with a mix of modern and ancient tactics. They didn't try to match Zooraan technology. They found ways around it. When Zooraan energy weapons proved less effective in Earth's atmosphere, the humans used this weakness to their advantage. "Sir," Blue reported grimly, "Ground Team 7 just lost contact. The humans are using something called guerrilla warfare. They strike fast and disappear into their cities and forests." Red watched as more Zooraan ships fell from the sky. The humans had already figured out the weak points in their shield design. Their missiles now targeted these specific areas, each shot more accurate than the last. "All ships, full retreat," Admiral Storm finally ordered. "Return to the rally point beyond their moon." As the Zooraan fleet pulled back, Red stared at his battle screen in disbelief. In just 6 hours of fighting, they had lost more ships than in their last 10 conquests combined. The humans had done the impossible. They had driven back the mighty Zooraan Empire's first attack. In the command center of his damaged ship, Red remembered the messenger's warning. "They will study you, learn from you, take your own weapons, and turn them against you in ways you never imagined." "Sir," Blue said quietly, "High Command wants a full report. What should we tell them?" Red looked at Earth, growing smaller as they retreated. Already he could see changes in human activities. They were mobilizing on a global scale, preparing for the next attack. Learning, adapting, getting stronger. "Tell them," Red said slowly, "that the messenger was right. This isn't going to be a conquest. It's going to be a war. And for the first time in Zooraan history, we might not win." 2 weeks after the failed first attack, the Zooraan High Council gathered their largest fleet ever. 3,000 warships filled the space near Jupiter, their purple shields creating a glowing cloud in the darkness. Commander Red stood before Fleet Admiral Storm and the other leaders, giving his report. "The humans have already reverse-engineered parts of our crashed ships. They work faster than any species we've ever seen." "It doesn't matter," Storm replied. "This time we bring overwhelming force. No more games. No more mercy." A junior officer rushed into the command room. "Admiral, urgent news from our scout ships. The humans, they're not where they're supposed to be." The main screen lit up, showing Earth's face. Where there had been only primitive satellites before, Now there was a defensive line of hastily built ships. They were ugly by Zooraan standards, a mix of human and alien technology cobbled together in just 2 weeks. Impossible, Storm whispered. No one can build a space fleet that quickly. That's not the worst part, Red added. Look at their designs. They're not copying our ships. They're improving them. The human ships had thick armor instead of energy shields. Their weapons were a mix of Zooraan energy beams and their own kinetic weapons. They had studied the first battle and adapted perfectly. Storm's scales darkened with anger. Begin the attack. Full force. Show them what real power looks like. The Zooraan armada moved forward, weapons charged. But as they approached Earth, a single human transmission reached them. The voice belonged to the human commander, known simply as Jack. You had your chance to leave us alone. Jack's voice was calm but firm. What happens next is on you. Red noticed something odd. Sir, the human fleet is retreating. They're moving behind their moon. Storm laughed. They're running already. All ships, advance. Suddenly, the moon lit up with thousands of energy signatures. The humans hadn't retreated. They had set a trap. They had turned their entire moon into a weapon platform. Evasive action. Storm shouted, but it was too late. A massive barrage of combined human and Zooraan weapons erupted from the moon's surface. The human fleet emerged from hiding, attacking from multiple directions. They had studied Zooraan battle tactics and knew exactly how to counter them. Red watched in amazement as human ships deliberately crashed through Zooraan energy shields, sacrificing themselves to create openings for their allies. Their tactics made no sense by Zooraan standards. They valued victory over survival. Sir, Blue reported from his station. We're getting strange readings. The humans, they've modified our own FTL drives. They're doing something new with them. Before anyone could respond, human ships began appearing and disappearing across the battlefield, jumping in and out of FTL in ways the Zooraan had never imagined possible. They were using faster-than-light travel as a weapon. Half the fleet is gone. Someone shouted. We need to retreat. But Storm wouldn't listen. Push forward. We cannot lose to primitives. Red watched as more Zooraan ships exploded. The humans fought with desperate creativity, using tactics no sane military would consider. They turned their own satellites into weapons, created improvised bombs from space debris, and coordinated with ground forces in perfect harmony. Fall back, Storm finally ordered, but his voice shook. All ships, emergency retreat. As the Zooraan fleet fled, Red received one last transmission from Earth. It showed humans already building more ships, improving their designs, and preparing for the next battle. In 2 weeks, they had gone from a planetary civilization to a space-fighting force. Sir, Blue said quietly, what do we do now? Red looked at the report from his home system. Other alien races, inspired by Earth's resistance, were beginning to question Zooraan rule. The empire that had stood for thousands of years was showing its first cracks. Now, Red replied, we face something the empire has never faced before. He paused, watching Earth's ships pursue their retreating forces. We face extinction, unless we learn to change as quickly as they do. But deep down, he knew the Zooraan Empire would never change fast enough. The humans had shown them a terrible truth. The galaxy belonged to those who could adapt, not those who stood still. 1 month after the failed massive attack, Commander Red sat in a secret meeting room on the Zooraan colony world of Blue Star. His scales had grown dull with stress as he watched the latest battle recordings. They're everywhere now, he told the gathered officers. The humans don't fight like a normal species. They appear, strike, and vanish. Our planets keep reporting attacks, but we can never catch them. The screen showed clips of human raids. Small, fast ships would jump out of FTL drive right next to Zooraan stations, fire their weapons, and disappear before anyone could respond. They called it hit-and-run tactics. Look at this, Blue pointed to another screen. They've taken our FTL technology and changed it completely. Their ships can now jump in and out of faster-than-light travel almost instantly. We need hours to calculate those same jumps. Red nodded grimly. They're learning and improving faster than we can respond. A Zooraan scientist takes 50 years to master a new field. Human scientists share knowledge across their global network and master things in weeks. An alarm suddenly blared through the station. Enemy ships detected, a voice announced. Multiple human vessels approaching. Red rushed to the command center. The humans had found their secret meeting place. But how? The answer appeared on his screen. The humans had created new sensors that could track Zooraan ships through FTL travel. All ships, battle positions, Red ordered, but he knew it was too late. The humans had already changed the rules again. Instead of attacking directly, the human ships released thousands of small robots into space. These machines attached themselves to Zooraan ships, disrupting their shield systems. It was yet another new tactic, something no one had ever tried before. "Sir," Blue reported, "we're getting messages from the colony below. The people, they're refusing to fight. They say they want to talk with the humans instead." Red wasn't surprised. News had spread across the Empire about how humans treated their prisoners, with respect and fairness, concepts the Zooraan had forgotten long ago. The human commander's voice came through their communications. "Your people don't need to die today. We offer peace to any colony that wishes to be free of the Empire." More and more Zooraan colonies were choosing to side with the humans. They had seen how Earth united its different nations and wanted the same chance for independence and cooperation. "Incoming transmission from High Command," Blue announced. The message was short but terrifying. The humans had somehow learned the location of the Zooraan homeworld. Red made a decision. He opened a private channel to the human fleet. "This is Commander Red. I request a meeting. There are things you need to know about the Empire's defenses." His crew looked at him in shock, but Red knew this was the only way. He had watched the humans advance more in 1 month than the Zooraan had in 1,000 years. They didn't just adapt. They revolutionized everything they touched. The humans accepted his offer. As Red prepared to board their ship, he remembered something he had noticed in Earth's transmissions. Every time the humans invented something new, they immediately shared it with everyone. When they solved a problem, they taught others how to solve it too. "Sir," Blue caught up with him at the airlock. "Are you sure about this?" Red looked at his old friend. The messenger warned us that humans never forget those who wrong them, but they also never forget those who help them. The Empire is dying. Blue. The future belongs to those who can change. As he walked onto the human ship, Red realized a profound truth. The Zooraan Empire hadn't just started a war. They had awakened something new in the galaxy. A species that turned every defeat into a lesson, every challenge into an opportunity. The humans weren't just winning the war. They were changing the very rules of how civilizations grow and adapt. And for the first time in his long life, Red felt something strange. Hope for a better future. The human flagship Unity appeared above the Zooraan colony world of First Light. Commander Red, now working with the humans, stood beside Captain Jack on the bridge. In just 2 months, humans had gone from defending Earth to leading a galaxy-changing revolution. "Your information was correct," Jack said, checking the battle displays. "The Empire has gathered most of their remaining fleet here." Red nodded. "They think they can trap your forces. They still don't understand how humans think." The plan was already in motion. While the main human fleet drew attention at first light, smaller teams of human ships were jumping to every major Zooraan world simultaneously. Not to attack, but to offer freedom. "Message from Earth Command," a crew member announced. "All teams report ready." Jack turned to his crew. "Begin Operation Avalanche." Red watched in amazement as hundreds of human ships appeared from FTL jumps around First Light. But they weren't alone. Ships from freed Zooraan colonies flew with them, their crews having learned human tactics and technology. Imperial fleet detected. someone reported. They're moving to attack position. The space around First Light lit up with weapons fire. But this battle was different from the others. The human ships now moved with incredible precision, using technologies that even Red didn't understand. They had taken every lesson from every battle and created something entirely new. Enemy shields failing. The tactical officer reported. They can't adapt to our frequency-shifting weapons. Red watched as the mighty Imperial fleet, once the terror of the galaxy, fell into chaos. The humans didn't just fight with superior technology. They fought with creativity. Each ship captain made their own decisions, adapting to the situation instead of following rigid plans like the Imperial forces. Message from the planet's surface. A communication officer called out. The colonial government wants to surrender. They're asking for peace talks. More reports flooded in from across Zooraan space. On every world, people were rising up against the Empire. They had seen how humans shared their knowledge and freedom with others, and they wanted the same chance. Sir, Red said to Jack, you should see this. The main screen showed the Imperial Palace on the Zooraan homeworld. The High Council was trying to flee as their own people turned against them. Centuries of rigid control and oppression were crumbling in a single day. Attention all forces, Jack broadcast across the human fleet. Remember our mission. We're here to free people, not destroy them. Any ship that surrenders is to be treated with respect. Red felt pride watching the humans work. In the heat of victory, they showed mercy. When Imperial ships surrendered, human medics rushed to help the injured. Where the Empire had ruled through fear, humans led through cooperation. Message from Earth, the communications officer announced. All primary targets secured. 80% of Zooraan worlds have declared independence from the Empire. The Battle of First Light ended not with a dramatic explosion, but with something more powerful choice. The colonial governor spoke to his people, and they chose freedom. The Imperial ships in orbit, seeing their world turn against them, chose surrender. It's over, Red said quietly. The empire that stood for thousands of years fell in less than 3 months. Jack shook his head. Not over. Just beginning. Now comes the hard part. Helping all these worlds build something better. Red watched as human teachers, scientists, and diplomats began arriving through FTL portals. They came not to conquer, but to share knowledge, to help, to build bridges between different species. Sir, a sensor operator called out. We're detecting an unusual energy signature. It looks like the messenger's ship. The ancient being appeared briefly on their screen, its form shifting as always. It spoke only 4 words. You chose more wisely. As the messenger vanished again, Red understood. The humans hadn't just won a war. They had shown the galaxy a new way to grow, to learn, to live. The Empire had feared change, but humans embraced it and taught others to do the same. Ready to help build a better galaxy? Jack asked him. Red looked at the freed worlds on the display screen and smiled. I'm ready to learn. 6 months after the Battle of First Light, the Great Hall of the former Imperial Palace looked very different. Where once only Zooraan leaders had sat, now representatives from 50 different worlds gathered. Humans sat among them, as equals, not conquerors. Former Commander Red, now simply called Red, stood at a window overlooking the capital city. The rigid military architecture now had gardens growing between buildings. Children from different species played together in parks that had once been parade grounds. Still getting used to the changes, Captain Jack asked, joining him at the window. Every day brings something new, Red replied. A year ago, I would have said it was impossible. The Empire had ruled the same way for thousands of years. Now look at us. Below them, a group of young Zooraan scientists worked with human teachers, learning Earth's way of sharing knowledge freely. In just 6 months, more scientific progress had been made than in the last century of Imperial rule. Final report from the last Imperial holdout, a human aide announced, bringing them a datapad. The High Council members have all been found. Most of them surrendered peacefully. The mighty Zooraan Empire hadn't ended with a great final battle, but with a quiet surrender. The people had simply stopped believing in its power and chosen a different path. Message from Earth, another aide called out. The first joint human Zooraan space fleet is ready for launch. They're calling it the Peacekeepers. Red watched on the screens as the new ships took flight. They were beautiful, a perfect blend of human creativity and Zooraan engineering. Each ship was crewed by members of different species working together. You know what's truly amazing? Jack said, looking at the latest progress reports. Every world that joins our alliance becomes stronger. The Empire kept everyone separate and afraid. We grow by sharing and cooperating. The proof was in the numbers. Worlds that had been poor under Imperial rule were now thriving. Species that had been enemies for centuries now traded and worked together. The humans had brought something the galaxy had forgotten: hope. Suddenly, a familiar energy pattern appeared in the hall. The messenger materialized, its form shifting as always. But now it seemed almost happy. We have watched countless civilizations, the messenger spoke. Most choose the path of empire and control. They rise, they fall, and they leave only ruins. But you humans chose differently. We just did what seemed right, Jack said simply. Exactly, the messenger replied. You could have conquered. You could have destroyed. Instead, you lifted others up. You taught them to be better. This is why we warned the Empire about you. Not because you were dangerous, but because you were necessary. Red understood now. The messengers hadn't been trying to protect the Empire from humans. They had been trying to protect humans from making the same mistakes as the Empire. Will you stay this time? Jack asked the messenger. No. Our time of watching is done. The galaxy is in better hands now. We leave you with one final message. Keep teaching. Keep learning. Keep growing. The greatest power is not in weapons or empires, but in the ability to make tomorrow better than today. As the messenger faded away for the last time, Red looked out at the city again. Workers were taking down the last Imperial symbols, not in anger but with care, preserving them for museums where future generations would learn from the past. The first school ships leave tomorrow, Jack said, taking teachers to the outer worlds, just like you suggested. Red smiled. And I heard Earth universities are now accepting students from all species. The young ones are so eager to learn your ways. Not our ways, Jack corrected him. Our way of finding new ways. That's what really matters. As the sun set on the former Imperial capital, Red watched ships from a dozen worlds coming and going freely. The Empire was gone, but something much better had taken its place. A galaxy where different peoples came together not through force, but through choice. The messenger had been right. The humans hadn't just defeated an empire. They had shown the galaxy how to build a future where everyone could grow stronger together, and that was a victory that would last forever.